Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another fun episode for you guys that you definitely want to stick around for. So let me get into it. And I think it's funny, right? Because now we're covering more, we're doing more Giannis content, and I'm just waiting for people to say, "All you talk about is Giannis," because that's what they said. "Oh, you talk about LeBron late," and then they're going to talk about somebody else, right? That's the next thing that's coming. So I think it's just gold in it. No matter what you do, some people are going to find a way to complain, no matter what. Listen. I think Giannis is starting to reach the point in his career where everyone, and I mean everyone, is forced to take notice of him. For the very first time, I'm hearing voices like Nick Wright, Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, and others begin to address Giannis properly and call him exactly what he is, which is the best player in the world. And by the way, this is coming from a Kawhi Leonard fan. Y'all know Kawhi is my favorite player in the NBA right now. But that doesn't stop me from giving praise to Giannis Antetokounmpo. And that's really what's going on with Giannis. For example, what we want to do is play a quick soundbite of Kendrick Perkins basically echoing the sentiments that Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, Nick Wright, and others have been having about Giannis Antetokounmpo over the last week, 2-3 weeks or so. So before we go too far, take a listen to Kendrick Perkins essentially saying or explaining why Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the world. Take a listen to that.
Is this Bucks team better than last year's team that won it all?
Yes, they are. And the reason that they're better than last year's team is because Giannis is better than he was last year. Right? Giannis is the best player in the NBA. Let's be clear about that right now. His mentality, the way he stepped up his game, elevated his game, the way that he improved on his weaknesses. Now he's taking that jump shot and those steps back with authority. We know that he's already the most dominant player, the way that he's attacking downhill, but now he's making guys around him better. And it's just, when I look at this man and I'm looking at the spanking that he's giving the Bulls on their home court, I'm like, look, this dude right here has stamped and proven to us that he's the best player in the league, which makes them a better team, which makes this team better.
Now, historically, the best player in the world title has been reserved for LeBron James, at least over the last 10 years or so. Over the last 10 years, LeBron James was the de facto best player in the world. Some people say it was KD. At one point, maybe some people say it's Kawhi and others. But for the most part, whenever you ask NBA fans over the last 10 years, who's the best player in the world, most people are going to say LeBron James. But now, it looks as if we're beginning to see a shift. And Giannis seems to be the one that's starting to take over that crown. And now it is putting the media, in my personal opinion, I'm part of the media, it's putting the media in a very precarious position. Because now, because LeBron, rather, has been the face of the NBA for so long, so long. And now they have to find a way to keep him relevant. They literally do, because LeBron and the Lakers are no longer in the playoffs. And it's the reason why you see in some cases, especially Undisputed, who seem to be incapable of going one single day without talking about LeBron. And people talk about us. They can't even go one day without, without talking about LeBron. And I'm beginning to notice that people are beginning to put Giannis and LeBron James in the same sentence, something that never used to happen before. So what we want to do is play a quick soundbite of Colin Cowherd and Kendrick Perkins essentially comparing LeBron James to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then we're going to come back and really unpack this thing. So take a listen to this quick compilation here. We're going to come back and really get into it. Take a listen to that.
Did you want to know my biggest concern?
Yeah.
Is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, his dominance. And to hear Jaylen Brown say we weren't prepared, and you hear the Celtics say we wasn't ready for that physicality, how in the hell you wasn't? You knew that you were playing against the most dominant player in the NBA. You knew that you was coming against the best player in the NBA. And when I look at Giannis, it's a reason that I actually picked the Celtics in 7 games and not 5 or 6, is because I'm afraid of him and what he's capable of doing. And look, he shot 9 for 25 last night. He actually had a worse game for us shooting-wise, but he imposed his will in other areas, rebounding the ball, his defense, making guys around him better. I am terrified of Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's giving me signs of LeBron James when he was in the Eastern Conference with the Cleveland Cavaliers, that you have to go through him, and he's standing in your way. And right now, the way that he's dominating and also being the best player in the game, the Jays are going to have to step up even more physicality-wise and have to be a ton better if they want to get past this Milwaukee Bucks team.
But what we're looking at now with Giannis, and I always liked Giannis. He was a great kid. But I was like, years ago, I'm like, everybody said he's going to take the league over like LeBron. And I'm like, well, LeBron runs the offense. He's the de facto point guard. He's a great facilitator. But Giannis is gotten so good at facilitating and passing. He's gotten better at shooting. We are looking at a longer, taller version of LeBron in his prime. They run the entire offense through both. You surround them with shooters. They can facilitate. Other great players. Embiid needs somebody to start the offense. Tatum, better with a point guard. Kawhi, better off the ball. And those are great players. So Giannis has become LeBron to me.
Now, here are my thoughts on this. I think Giannis is the total opposite of LeBron James. These two players are literally nothing alike. There's nothing about Giannis that reminds me of LeBron James, literally. First of all, when LeBron came into the NBA, he was the chosen one. He was the biggest thing, forget about in basketball, in sports. I remember he came into the NBA like a whirlwind. And many people say since his arrival to the league, he has lived up to. No one came in with as much hype as LeBron. Not Kobe, not any of them. LeBron was he was in a universe by himself. Whereas Giannis, when Giannis came into the NBA, his rookie season, Giannis averaged 6.8 points per game. No one was talking about Giannis was going to be the next face of the NBA. No one. Maybe the people that drafted him, but nobody was. Giannis had nowhere near the level of attention that LeBron James had when he came into the NBA. That's the first thing. During the course of LeBron's career, LeBron joined a super team in 2011 with the Miami Heat. And Giannis, on the other hand, seems to be the anti-super team star in the NBA. And y'all heard him when he won his first championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. What did he say in the press conference when they asked him about his journey? He said, we did it the right way. We did it the right bleeping way. He said the easy thing to do would have been just to go out there, join a super team, and win a championship. He said that's the easy thing to do. But we did it the right way. So in terms of the paths that they took in their careers, there's no similarity whatsoever. Giannis Antetokounmpo stayed in a small market, although LeBron started in a small market, but ultimately he moved on to Miami, went back to Cleveland, and now is in LA. Giannis is still in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The guy hasn't gone anywhere, and he seems like he has no intention of leaving. That's another thing. But what I've noticed is that LeBron, and also finally, excuse me, I lost my thought for a second. And the other thing is, LeBron is a very vocal guy. LeBron loves to post on social media. He loves to be vocal on social issues. And he likes, I think, the attention that comes with being an NBA player. Whereas Giannis basically wears sweatsuits to work. Giannis, if he doesn't talk in a post-game conference, you don't hear about him. The funniest thing Giannis has done is tell his dad jokes or eat chicken in post-game conference. That's it. Like, that's all we get from Giannis. So to me, I think these guys are totally different. And I think that the media, nevertheless, is trying to attach LeBron to Giannis. That's what I think has happened, even though Giannis has a totally different career trajectory. Literally. Now, when it comes to Giannis, here is a similarity. If you ask most NBA fans, is LeBron James a top 10 or top 5 NBA player? Most NBA fans will say yes, that he is. Now with Giannis has the potential to be a top 10 or top 5 player. Therein lies a similarity. There aren't a lot of guys in the NBA today that have the potential to be a top 10 NBA player. Some will say Steph, some will say KD. I think the real guy is Giannis. Giannis has the potential to be a top 10, top 5 NBA player. And let me tell you, let me tell you how. I think if Giannis continues to rack up regular season accolades like making all NBA teams, all defensive teams, maybe winning an MVP, winning the defensive player of the year, making all-star teams. He doesn't even need to win an MVP. Just continue to make all NBA teams and all-star teams and put up fantastic numbers in the regular season. I think if Giannis Antetokounmpo wins 3 NBA championships to LeBron's 4, I think his 3 championships in Milwaukee will go a longer way in the eyes of fans and in the eyes of some people in the media than LeBron's two championships in, 2 championships in Miami and 1 championship in LA in the bubble. I think more people will give Giannis more credit for that championship, for those 3 championships in Milwaukee in a small market than they will to LeBron. That's just the way it works with NBA fans. NBA fans seem to respect guys that stayed put, number one, or guys that won in smaller markets, that went to teams that had never won anything and turned them into champions. That 1 championship that LeBron got with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think is his most important championship and his most. I think if you could take all 4 of his championship rings and weigh them, that one would weigh the most. But in the case of Giannis, if Giannis wins 3, it's like Giannis will have 3 championships of 3 championships like the one that LeBron won in Cleveland. I think they carry more weight. Just like when Kawhi won his championship in Toronto, carries more weight than the championship he won with the San Antonio Spurs. And I think that's where fans can really start to flock to Giannis. And I think the media is trying to make a concerted effort to annex LeBron to the success of Giannis. Why? Because Giannis is the guy right now. He's currently the best player still remaining in the playoffs. And, he's the biggest name in the sport right now. So they have to find a way to connect them. So when people are talking about he's about to go into Giannis, I think we're talking about 2 different things. 2 totally different things. 2 totally different, talking about dominating the East, 2 totally different things. Nice try, but Giannis is a completely different player, different career. And I think at the end of the day, if Giannis ends up winning 3-4 more championships, more people are going to put him ahead of LeBron. And I think that's most likely going to happen. If Giannis wins 4 championships, people are going to rank him ahead of LeBron. Maybe some LeBron fans won't be happy to hear that, but that's what's going to happen.